This video involves cracking the Animus Code as well as my Kundalini journey. In this story, they both converge into one meaning. In the last Animus video, I mentioned how I was trying to re-envision my Animus because it was no longer working for me. The gothic, darker image. I had decided I no longer wanted to attract relationships through ritual means, through meditation. I was more opening up to the universe and saying, maybe you have a better idea than I do of what I need and what's nurturing in a relationship. And then I came to the conclusion that people are personalities and flavors, and the most important part of them is their heart. So I'm picking up where I left off with that last video, and I write, since 2004, I had cleared my internal image of what I found attractive or alluring in a romantic partner. The only man or male archetype I consciously communicated with in my psyche was Hermes, as the Greek statue or the marble man. By 2004, I had matured enough to see my vision of the perfect man was no longer serving me. Also at this time, I changed my manner of dress from time to time, from wearing black every day to wearing these bright orange colors and pinks. So I also was lightening up in appearance. I contemplated what form my animus would take, if he were more holy, grounded, centered, if I could extract the gothic or darkness out of him and see him as a healed being. And that, of course, brought me to thoughts of Jesus, but that didn't seem exactly right to me. And at the time, I decided it would be easier to ask my spirit guide Hermes what was going on and how to envision my inner male at this point instead of trying to psychoanalyze myself. And this is a story of what happened when I approached Hermes with this question. I learned to communicate with spirit, you need only an interface, or an inner face for that matter. Hermes told me in ancient times past, the statues themselves were interfacing devices that could be inhabited by the gods to communicate with a student in meditation. I sat down, closed my eyes, and brought Hermes' face into my mind's eye. The first thing I noticed was his proud golden garments. He was in color, flesh, not the statue. I felt immense awe to be so close to this perfection. I wanted somehow to merge with this amazing force of eternal love. I looked into Hermes' face. I was excited because I had never seen his face with flesh before. I was very curious to see what he would look like as a human. Instead of seeing his perfected flesh made manifest, I saw a bright beam of white light, swirling and infinite with electrical currents, stars, and universes. The vision was conveying that the light was God. The light is in all flesh. Do not worship the flesh. It is God within the flesh that you truly love, not the form it takes. The form is merely a vessel of the light. What you think you love in the form is just the light that resides within the form. The more you can see the light, the more you are attracted to the form. The form is the illusion, the projection of light. The clearer or more balanced the channel or vessel or form, the more light can shine through. Giving my heart to an identity, to a personality, to a flavor, is idolatry. I was a child in awe, worshiping statues. I have loved the man, the beast, the logical mind, over the divinity within them. Okay, the vision continues. I now see Hermes. He's in a cave by firelight, standing against a brown stone wall. The light from the fire reflects brilliantly off his golden armor. I do not see the fire, yet I see it reflecting off the armor and the walls. I see him with flesh again. However, as I focus in on the features of his face, he transforms into all archetypes. It's almost like by the simple fact of observing him, I cause his appearance to change. Then I saw Hermes in statue form, walking up a white-capped mountain. This reminded me of the hero's journey, popularized by the American mythologist Joseph Campbell. My animus was about to experience the vision and initiation of Hermes the god, as I had just done, in the cave, in the mountain, among the firelight. My animus became enlightened. Profound justification was enjoyed. I had cracked the Animus Code, set forth by Dr. Carl Jung. The animus must reach enlightenment along with the ego identities, a co-enlightenment. This is the great balance that leads to the sacred marriage, spoken of in occult literature. I was then visited by my fairy, Isabella. She instructed me to dig out a drawing I had done of her back in 1993. In the picture, she's holding a castle in her left hand. Her index finger of her right hand is over her lips in a silence position. I remember when I drew the picture, I had the feeling she was telling me a secret I had forgotten about until she instructed me to look at the art again. Isabella opened the castle as if it were a box. I have a secret to tell you, she said. Her energy was electric and chipper. I'm getting married, she announced. Out of the box, she drew a golden wedding band, a symbol of love and fidelity. The ring glowed with a light of its own. She placed it on her right hand Apollo finger. She beckoned me to come to see the wedding. It was indeed a fairy wedding, with all the trimmings. Enchanted. Isabella once again showed me her ring, and then it morphed into an infinity symbol. I asked Isabella just who she was, what part of me. She answered that she was my inner child, but not like that. I was never a child, she said. I was always a fairy. Then she showed me the Lover's card from the Thoth Tarot deck. I noticed the children, one black, one white, inside the couple getting married. By the end of this vision, I was exhausted and elated. I remember the vision seemed to flow right along as if I was watching a play. I felt I'd learned many great truths and was a bit stunned by the velocity of my gnosis. So in summary, I came to my spirit guide with the question, how do I figure out my animus now? How do I envision him? I opened myself up to the answer, and then I channeled this vision that included meeting the god Hermes himself, the universal one force that comes under the aegis of Hermes. There are many forms of God. There are many, all are of the same light. I was taught about the idolatry of flesh, personality, and flavor. I saw the statue Hermes making his way to the temple to meet the god Hermes and have self-realization. I was then visited by my inner child, saying that she was getting married, and that indeed is the sacred marriage spoken of in alchemy, hermetics, and even the Thoth Tarot. I hope that hearing this part of my story enriches your spiritual path. Blessings and namaste.